Hello, me. Close this window. Don't want anybody listening to me talk about shit. Well, today marks the final day of my family existing. Had the final death of the sort of my connection to the rest of the fucking clan. He's gone now. That was my nanny's brother. He has deceased. It was not entirely unexpected. And I did not go to see him. And I did not go to see him because he did not extend the courtesy to his sister when he should have. I am the embodiment of justice. All things must be balanced and all things must have consequence. Because if they don't have fucking consequence, then people can just do what they want. And that's not okay. So I don't even feel at least a bit bad about that. I don't think he gives a shit. Whether I went to see him or not, I'm not even sure if he was lucid. Don't know. Do not know. All my information comes from one source, and she wasn't that particularly involved either. But now, my little section of the family now has no connection, no real connection to the rest of them, those fuckers. Because the rest of my family bloodline, the fucking clan that lives in this town, are all awful, just horrible people. So, but not horrible as in there's different types of horribleness. This is the worst type. This is the type where they're so rife with pretentiousness and avarice that they can't see any other way. They're so locked into this particular lifestyle. Of it's very old fashioned, very fucking boomer mindset is what it is. You only care about your career, and the model for success is material only. And if you go to university, you're like king shit, right? Whereas me, well, first of all, there's me and mom, and mom doesn't give a fuck. Me also don't give a fuck, but I have added bits to my don't give a fuck, which is I have a brain right here. It's fucking huge. My brain is so big, so vast, that I can comprehend a world where I have neither a career and has not gone to university, and I'm still a good person. Imagine that. Not only am I a good person, but I'm also successful. I mean, I'm not, but I might be eventually. But that's besides the point. The point is, you can have all these things without fulfilling these two things, right? And then there's somebody going to be listening to this. You're going to chime in and go, but if you go to university over have a career, you're going to have a higher success rate of achieving success. And it's like, oh yeah, that's nice. Okay, still don't give a shit. You know how I see life? You fucking live and then you die, and that's it. Everything in between, nobody cares about, unless you happen to be in a position of power that you're going to be actually written into history in some way. Nobody gives a shit. Doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. None of it matters. None of it matters. Nothing you do matters. Ever. 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 You need to go and kill a lot of people to matter. All right? You need to do something horrible because that's all history remembers. You know, it's very rare that people would ever fucking remember anything good. You know, any small deed. We're such a worldly society now, right? So worldly in our values or what we choose our values to be, but we're not very worldly, at least when I'm thinking about my extended family, not very worldly in our morals, in our everyday life. We hold each other, or they hold people like me, to this particular standard based on, you know, the rest of the fucking world. I don't know if you know anything about the rest of the world. Rest of the world, kind of just surviving, kind of just it's rough out there. It's not good. Uh, it is such a luxury, to sit there and go, oh well, I earn 10 grand more than somebody else in my position in fucking private corporate bullshit, something like that. It's disgusting, and they're so judgmental of me, right? They talk as if, but I get this a lot. I get this a lot because I'm very introverted. I don't share. I let people, and this is a very conscious choice, very psychological. I consciously choose to let other people talk because people aren't very good at listening and they like to talk about themselves, and I just let them go. All right? And they can make all the judgments they want. If they want to ask me questions, and sometimes this does happen, most of the time it doesn't, but sometimes they catch themselves mid sentence, and they're like, God, I'm talking too much about myself. What about you? And then I very happily, tell them all about myself. But most people don't give a fuck. Everybody's self-centered. Everybody's out for themselves. It's just a solo ladder. Everybody's just fucking clambering over each other just to get to the fucking end of the rat race. You know? Everybody backstabbing everybody else. This is my experience. This is my anecdotal life experience of fucking everyone. Everyone. Right? Everyone. And people that know my circumstances, about a few years ago might have said, oh, well, you just feel that way because you were abandoned by one of your parents, right? And that may be valid. However, anecdotal experience, independent of this, up until this point, has been that it's true. That everybody's just so. Oh, people can justify all sorts of fucking things. All sorts. My granddad is the most recent one. Just, incredible hubris. Just so would rather watch the world burn than admit that he's wrong, right? Would rather lie than submit to any sort of chipping away at his pride or ego. He's such a particular worldview, and everybody else be damned. Everybody below him, which is most people, especially me, which might be funny because I'm his grandson and a lot fucking smarter than him. He knows that, but it's intimidating to him, you see, so he has to double down. But anyway, so this guy's fucking dead now, right? He doesn't have a will, as far as I understand, so fucking two guesses why these people are clamoring to be around him. They never should, fucking were around him in the past few years. You might see them once in a blue moon, including me, but I'm not the one who is out, going up to the hospital with their fucking hand out, being like, "Oh, I care about you. We love you." You don't. You don't know what love is. Not even know what love is. They don't. Fucking joke. And guess what will happen? They'll fucking carve him up like a turkey. They will carve him up and take what they want. To me, that's fucking disgusting. Just absolutely vile. Everything wrong with the world. Such greed. Biblical fucking greed. You know? I could write a book. I swear to Christ. Just, disgusting, vile. I feel it in my stomach. It's like a sourness. I want to strap all these people to a big fucking rocket and blast them into the sun. Like, it's just, not my world. Not my fucking empire. If I was the Emperor of Man, God, I wish I was. I would kill so many people. I would kill so many people. God, it would be such a brutal dictatorship. But in the end, give it like a couple of 100 years, it'll be so much better afterwards. I don't think I don't think that these sort of qualities and attributes that people hold to such grandiose appeal. Um, I don't believe that is human nature. I don't believe greed is human nature. You know, you often hear this as an argument for capitalism, right? Where, and I'm not going to get into all that, but you often hear like people will always want more. If somebody has more than you in some way, then somebody will come along with their hand out, and demand their share. I don't think that's always the case. You know, I think it's a poor representation of humanity. I don't think that's the way that it has to be. You know, um, but to me, like these sort of levels of greed where you sacrifice, and of course the irony is these people are all faithful. They're all very religious people, and it's always the religious people. It's always the fucking people who claim to be spiritual who so readily sacrifice the morals that are so intricately baked into their belief, you know. And how do they justify it? They justify it every day. It's an ongoing thing. They're the kind of people, and I would say most people are like this. I used to be like this, but I got rid of it. And it was a very conscious decision in my life that I got rid of it, where you stockpile ammunition. It's an arms race. You stockpile ammunition. Everybody is hostile. Everything is aggressive. Every interaction you have with somebody else is an opportunity for you to take some slight or something under wing, and then you tell yourself, oh, I'm such a big man for not acting on that, right? But I'll cash it in later, right? There's a lot of people that behave that way, and these people, my family, they all behave that way, you know. But that's how they justify it. That's how they justify these incredibly selfish, grand statements of just pure avarice, just pure biblical fucking greed. They justify it because there's been these slights and everything in the past. None with me, mind you. They just treat me like a piece of shit regardless. I don't know if it's by association or what. I don't know if stuff happened between my mom and my grandparents on the other side of the family or not, but it does extend to me, whatever the fuck it is. I've run into, thinking of one in particular, I run into her in town quite often. Just happenstance. It's not like I actively seek out to talk with this fucking degenerate, but um, yeah, you can tell. No, you can just tell when you're talking with somebody, and it's not in my head. It's quite obvious. If you were to take a video of us interacting and play it back to a third party audience, the conclusion it would always be the same, that there is something wrong. There's some sort of narrative going on that is not being said, and this narrative is not from me. I interact very pleasantly, or I used to. I won't anymore. If any of these people come to me, I'm going to tell them to fuck off and die. I would kill them all if I could just have my nanny back, including my granddad. Fuck them. I would kill them in the most horrible way. I would tie them all to stakes together in one big lump, fucking burn them, roast them like a pig spit. You know? Fuckers. Fuck them all. I'd kill them all just to have her back because she's worth a million times all of them put together, right? But anyway, you can tell when somebody's interacting with you, you know? And I hate that. I hate when somebody's talking to you as if you're a piece of shit and you're you're not a piece of shit, and because you're not a piece of shit, you recognize that this is happening, but you can't really say anything, you know? You can't really say anything because they're not really saying anything. It's like a flavor. You know, it's like a taint to everything ordinary that they say. You can be talking about the most ordinary thing in the world, like, Michael, here's a cup of coffee. There's coffee in the cup. The cup is blue. But the flavor is this cup is a piece of shit. Right? And the cup is listening, and the cup's like, I'm just a cup of coffee. I'm full of coffee, you know, and I'm blue. But you're saying it in such a way that the cup is a piece of shit because you believe that the cup is a piece of shit, right? You believe that the coffee inside the cup is a piece of shit and the color is a piece of shit, right? You know. But you can't really say anything. The cup can't call me out because I'm not really saying anything. There's always that, I mean, I talked about this in previous videos, this idea of plausible deniability, where everybody, it's like such fundamental baseline, like base, base level, fucking, not even base, maybe like subterranean level intellectualism where you present ideas and arguments based entirely within this realm of plausible deniability, right? Because you always want a fucking art. You never commit to anything. You don't have any ideals. Morals are plastic at best for people, you know. They don't hold them to their heart. You know, as soon as there's a problem, what's the first thing to go? Morals, right? Because everybody defaults to that survival mode. Even though you're not in survival mode, it's so hardwired into the way people think, people are, that they just, you know, they'll cut your fucking head off for a slice of meat or something, you know, or loaf of bread. It's insane. It's just insane. But I hate it. I really, really hate when people talk down to me as if I'm nothing. When in reality, you know, let's say my book gets successful, all these fucking people are gonna be like, oh yeah, he's our fucking nephew, blah blah blah. You know, we had a hard time over the years, but we were there for him. And you fucking, oh no, you were not. Nobody helped me do shit. You know, they will take me under their wing. I would become the discussion at third party dinner parties, right? You know, it's like, oh, have you read this? This guy's in our family. It's like, fuck you. Fucking cunts. Just, ugh. Horrible. Ugh. You know, and somebody would come along and like, you know, Michael, you're too idealistic. Am I though? You know? Because these are traits that people recognize. We have a saying here, I don't know if it's a saying in the rest of the world, but you know, somebody has more faces than we would say the Albert clock. You know, it's to say you're two-faced. It's to say that you have there's many sides to a coin, you know. So people recognize it and acknowledge it as a undesirable quality, but it doesn't go further than that, you know? But it does go further for me. I really, really believe in consequence. Everything should have consequences. If you're talking shit behind somebody's back, that should have consequences. You know, I'm not saying that you should go to the gulag because you called your best friend a shithead or something. Maybe they were being a shithead. I don't know. But everything should have consequences, you know? Especially when you're like these people. It's so insidious. The sort of treatment that they... You see, because mum is... She's smart in some ways, but she's not very... how would you put it? She doesn't have the framework for dealing with these kind of people. Because these kind of people are inherently hostile, but it's not in an obvious way, you know. It's in the background. It's very nefarious that way, and she doesn't have the framework to deal with that. So they kind of run rings around her. And unfortunately, I'm never in a position where I can sort of put a stop to it, right? Because I'm not really connected to them, and I'm never in these kind of social situations that I can say something. Not that it would matter, but I feel like it's important. But I've always been that way. Where there's injustice like that, it has to be called out. It just has to. It just I don't understand people that are just okay with that um letting it slide, right? You hear that often. It's like, just don't worry about it. Don't care about it. I can't. I can't. What? You can't just let that go. You know, you have to call it out. They have to know that they're fucking cunts. They have to know. And you tell them. And you try to tell them in a way that they would understand. You have to get on their level, these pieces of shit. And they have to know. They have to know. I have to know that I'm going away from the situation, and for maybe a split second of the day, they're going to think, shit, maybe I am a piece of shit. You know? And if nothing else, I want them to go away scared, or I want them to go away feeling much worse about me. I want them to watch the bridge burning. You know, I want them to see. I want them to see that somebody made a stand against them for reasons they can't understand, but they can see the fire. They can see the flames. They can see that somebody has done something. Somebody has gone nuclear, and he doesn't seem to be crazy, right? Because when people see you go insane or see you make big grand gestures, right? They think that you're crazy, right? There's something wrong with his head. What is he doing? What's he doing? Um, but if you keep going and you present an argument in many different ways, eventually they recognize that you're not crazy and that you're just making a stand on something, right? And it's important to do that because that's how you wheedle in, you know. Anyway, so today is a landmark of sorts. Um, it is now just me and parent now until the end of time. In a family sense, it's saying I will be living here forever. God, I hope not. But yeah, it's me and parent. Really hope I don't have to deal with any. I'm not going to the funeral. I don't think she's going to the funeral either. Because I don't want to talk to any of these people. Got at my nana's funeral. They all showed up, right? Keep in mind that none of these people bothered to visit her in the hospital, and none of them bothered to visit her at home when she was dying. None. Not one. Not one sinner. But they all show up to the funeral because everybody loves a fucking funeral. And they're all standing around going, UK gives a hug. Not me, though. Nobody likes to approach me. Everybody's scared of me for some reason. Which is funny, because I'm not at all scary, not at all intimidating. They just don't know what to do with me, I think. Because I don't offer anything. And that's confusing to them, because people are very dumb. But, they're just all standing around, all laughing and smiling, just so false. False as arseholes is what you say. So false. I hate it. I hate it all. I hate people. I spend so much time thinking about these things. It's such a waste of energy. I really wish life wasn't like this, you know. I wish I could just focus on my work and then just have that be a legacy. Well, what use is a fucking legacy of art, Michael, if there's nobody to see it? I don't give a shit. Nobody sees my stuff anyway. You know, when I die, they'll just find a big fuckload of drawings and sculptures and maybe a book or two as well. At least one, anyway. You know, that's all I care about. The act of creation. But all this other stuff, all this frilly business, God help me. God, it's just so tiring, exhausting. These parasitic fucking sycophants and hangers on and fucking dingleberries. That's all they are. Just a fucking shit on my shoe. But yeah, anyway, that's it. What have I been doing with myself? Just writing. Yeah, pretty much it. That's it. That's all I do. I just write, play games, sleep. Write, play games, sleep. Um, I've been looking into ways to make a little bit of money for myself, with just through games. So, but I haven't pulled the trigger on that yet. So I'm currently writing a big long dialogue between my character and his dead best friend. But I'm very slow at writing dialogue, evidently, because I'm recording a video of myself rather than writing dialogue. Have a coffee. I made fajitas. God, it was so good. It was like restaurant quality. Not gonna lie, it was fucking delicious. It was so good that I ate most of it. Big tray of peppers and beef in like one night. But we're coming into colder weather now. I know I keep talking about this, but it just means I can go for walks. Walkies for Michael. Walkies for Michael. What does Michael do with his time? They think I'm such a degenerate. You know, whatever. Fuck them cunts. Die. Fucking die. Die!